So my friend Rhett had this really great video that he posted today about a bead on a spinning hoop. This is just a screenshot of his setup. So you've got a hoop, it goes around this way, and then you've got a bead on there. And he did a lot of really, really cool stuff, including some animations right about here. Let's see if I can just get a screenshot of it. There we go. Where it just kind of goes around. Let's see if I can get that.
I didn't calculate my Euler-Lagrange equations or anything.
Oh, no, there's not the one I want. This one? Yeah, here we go. So let me just back that up a little bit. We can see his simulation here.
That looks like it's working.
Cool.
It's actually beautiful.
So what I got to thinking about is what happens if you made the spinning hoop dynamical, so that you maybe just started it with an original omega going around, but that it then would adjust and react to the bead moving around on it. So in Mathematica, what I did was I set the similar variables, but I have this mass of the hoop in here. And then this stable equilibrium calculation is something that actually I'm not using that, so you don't need that. So I set up the x, y, and z coordinates of the particle, and I realized that the hoop itself has some kinetic energy. So this is basically the moment of inertia of a hoop, and then it's just 1/2 I omega squared, where omega is now just the angle, the dynamical variable dotted or primed in Mathematica. Got the potential energy. I'm not putting any potential energy for the hoop because it's not moving up or down. And then the Lagrangian, and then the Euler-Lagrange equation is the derivative of the Lagrangian with respect to any variable minus the derivative of the Lagrangian with respect to that same variable dotted with an additional time derivative, and that's set equal to 0. Then you just slap that into ND-solve, and you give initial conditions. So I'm having the initial phi angle of the hoop just be 0. That doesn't really matter. I have its initial angular speed set to omega, and then for theta I just set it at some radians, 2 radians, so it's kind of more than pi over 2. Anyway, so then I'll just start from the top. So I'll calculate that. I can calculate this now. So it does some interesting things. Then I can compare it against essentially Rhett's calculation, where I don't have an additional term on the kinetic energy. I don't know why it keeps doing this. Kinetic energy is just the particle itself. There's just phi is just some omega t. And so it's a much simpler differential equation solver, so I can run that. So then what I have is just a gigantic plot command, basically. And let's see if I can see the colors. Well, it'll make more sense if we look at it. So I'm just going to back this up again, and we'll run it. So we can see that the balls basically follow each other. Let me explain the colors here. So blue and purple are the various hoops. Orange and green are the actual paths. So you can see that for this combination, they're basically doing the same thing, but the purple hoop is getting ahead of the blue hoop. So that's important to remember. The purple hoop is getting ahead of the blue hoop. Purple is the one where we're letting the hoop have a sort of dynamical variable to it. In fact, I think down here somewhere I can plot phi final or phi full as a function of time. It's not quite a straight line. There's a little bit of a wobble to it. So let's go back up to the top, and let's make the two things have the same mass. So right now I had the hoop be 10 times the mass of the ball. Let's make them have the same mass. So we'll just have to execute a few of these things here, and we'll replot. And I'm just going to slow it down before I hit run. Slow 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 times. So let's watch it now. So now the purple one's getting pretty far ahead. Every single time the ball gets down to the bottom, the ball following the green path gets down to the bottom, the hoop kind of speeds up, gets way ahead. Watch, it just kind of jumps when the ball's at the bottom. So let's see an even more extreme version of that. I think I did a version where there was, this was 10 times the mass. So now the hoop is most of the mass. Oh no, sorry, I want to think the other way around. The hoop is a small amount of the mass. That's what I wanted. I already showed you 10 times the mass. We'll just recalculate everything. And now slow this down a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see what happens right at the bottom. Whoa! Just a gigantic extra little twist. So that's getting way ahead of the blue circle. So what's going on? I actually think this is easiest to explain with conservation of angular momentum. Because right at the beginning, we've got red balls executing a circle. I mean, they're falling, but for a briefest moment, they're being carried around this way. And that's a lot of angular momentum in the, let's see, up direction, the positive z direction. When this ball is down here, so wait for it to get there, right about there, all of a sudden, something needs to pick up that angular momentum. So the hoop itself says, oh my God, I need to spin. So the hoop spins, jumps way out. So that's super interesting. Anyways, I've been playing around with this ever since I saw Rhett's post and thought this was a useful addition to the conversation.